Hey, welcome back. I want to go over how to apply colored pencil to paper. A very basic tutorial, but it is important. It's important to have a very sharp, pointed tip. This will help you fill in the grooves in the tooth of the paper, as opposed to having a blunt tip like you can see here. You won't be able to get as good of coverage when you're applying the pencil. So as you can see, sharpened versus unsharpened makes a big difference, and I will show you that here in just a moment. So here I'm showing applying the pencil with a sharpened tip and the kind of look you get. Obviously I'm layering a bit here. I'm not applying any pressure. I'm just lightly going back and forth to show how well that sharpened point gets in and fills in those white spots in the paper, which are the grooves in the tooth of the paper. The tooth is like the texture of the paper. And here I'm going to show you with the blunt tip that this is how the pencil came. This is the original stock. I have not sharpened this pencil at all. I'm going in at a similar, if not the same angle as the last pencil and just going back and forth with light layering. And as you can see, it's not filling in and giving me the coverage that I would like to have in the tooth of the paper. And without that coverage, it makes it harder to blend and get the kinds of tones that I like to have when working on my colored pencil drawings. The next point I'd like to make is that it's important to go in circular motions when applying your colored pencil. If you go up and down, back and forth, as you see here, you're going to get uneven blending. You're going to get uneven blending. You're going to get darker spots where you can see where the different layers are blending on top of each other, like you can see here and here. And it's just not as smooth unless this is the look you're going for. I find it preferable to go in circular motions. I'm going to make them a little more dramatic here so you can see, and you don't get those harsh lines from the going back and forth. So I'm just going to go in and fill in a similar amount of area, but with circular motions. And as you can tell, you overlap the same area more often than when you go back and forth because you're repeatedly going in a circle, and you get that smoother, better blended colored pencil on the paper. And you can do it in small circles, big circles. There's not a right or wrong way. The circular motion is just helpful in getting a more smooth blend when applying those layers of the pencil. Next, I'm going to show how layering can look when put on the paper and done in very light touch. And what I mean by this is when you're applying the pencil, you're not pushing down hard at all. You're just barely letting that pencil rest on the tooth of the paper and letting the color come off the tip and go onto the paper. You're not pushing down, you're not damaging the tooth of the paper, which is where you flatten that texture of it. So I'm going to go in here just with a light colored pencil, sharpened, circular motions, and just going to go over it. And it does take multiple layers to get the same amount of coverage. You could push harder and get it in less time. However, you won't be able to apply more color or blend it anymore. Once that tooth and texture of the paper is gone, it's gone, and it's difficult, if not impossible, to add more colored pencil to it. So here I'm just going back and forth. I'm not adding any more pressure as it's getting darker. I'm just going over it again and again, adding more layers. And with that sharpened tip and the circular motion, it's going down and filling in those grooves. And I also want to show here that, again, without applying any extra pressure, I'm able to blend two different colors and layer that. And layering is a useful technique of blending, as you can see in one of my previous tutorials. Layering is very useful. It just is a bit time consuming. You'll notice I'm not holding the pencil close to the tip. I'm holding it more towards the back so it can lightly rest on the paper, and I'm just controlling the motion of the pencil without applying any additional pressure to it to get the look that I want. And finally, one other tip I'd like to point out is in order to keep your pencil sharp longer, It helps to kind of spin your pencil as you're applying it. So as you can see here, I've got a sharpened pointed tip, and I'll just slowly turn the pencil so I'm wearing down that end of it as evenly as possible while I'm applying it in the circular motion. So I'll take the pencil here and kind of show that. You'll see where it says Prismacolor on the pencil, that'll start to turn as I go. So I'm doing the circular motion, the light layering, I'm not pushing down at all, and I'm spinning that pencil as I'm applying it. It may sound like a little crazy, but it does help that tip last longer. You fill in the grooves more. And the longer you can keep your pencil sharp and the more use you can get out of it, the more effective, more efficient the pencil is, and the faster you can go. You're not having to stop as often or in as short of intervals to sit and sharpen it over and over again. And that's how you apply colored pencil to paper. Obviously, there are different types of paper with different textures and types of tooth or grain to it. And there are different ways to blend colored pencil once you get it on the paper. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and don't forget to check out my other videos as well on Amanda's Artistic Adventures, and don't forget to subscribe.